it's one of those experiences that are terrible and good at the same time.
But it all depends on your expectations. I'd say that people coming from our side of the world will be fine with those situations and will sort out anything immediately because the expectations are not as high as from people coming from Europe who are used to everything sorted out and working and in perfect condition probably. So it also has to be
like this morning I was talking to Lucia in the training workshop and she was saying, no, it was yesterday morning, she said to me, oh, tomorrow different people will be here. And of course that's a worry, it is, because yesterday I started doing something and this morning I had different people so I had to repeat it. But I was like, don't worry Lucia, you know, like a few months ago I was teaching interpreting to people all languages in different levels in the same classroom, each in their computer, and you know, you improvise. And I do the training, I do the easier part, because people who organize accommodation, you just can't imagine. You can read one of the reports on accommodation from Malmö. It was terrible. They promised 500 beds in the youth hostel or whatever. I don't remember what happened really, but and then they weren't there, so we had to phone people. Can you have 2 people sleeping in your sofa tonight? Can you, you know, it is improvising. It is finding the best solution at the last moment. And it shouldn't have happened in Sweden because Sweden is Sweden. I mean, we thought it would be easy in Sweden. Sometimes other countries are more difficult. But it can happen anywhere if there's not enough resources, which was the case there. The organization went bankrupt, so we had to do our best. And our best was take our notebooks, write it down, repeat it in another language, and that's what you're there for. You're there to contribute, to help. You're not there to make it even more difficult for the others trying to work.
The expectations and culture as well. I remember the first conference I organized here in the Department of Languages. Of course, I knew there were going to be people who never said, I'm coming for the dinner. So it's not that I had spaces for them, but I said, well, if they come, we'll just push it, everybody. And the Irish were sort of uncomfortable because people were too close. And I was saying, what's wrong? There's no problem. But it's a cultural thing as well. The expectations have to do with their culture.
Yes. And interpreters traditionally have had the best conditions possible, and that's something that we also try to develop. The best possible, but that doesn't mean you're going to be in a 5-star hotel in a jacuzzi.
But I think what I learned about this province is that there are places like Paris, Paris, perhaps London, that there is a network of translators, interpreters, but at the same time there's a type of forum for this type of volunteering task. And if you are available, sometimes an NGO calls you and say, are you available? Amnesty International, they have a speaker from Kenya. Would you be available to interpret for us? Something that's just consecutive. And I think that something like this in Ireland would work, because in Ireland sometimes you need, people who are there and they have to interpret. I suppose I don't know, in Spain I know that in Granada, the University of Granada offers this type of
and the University of Vigo also has translators. It's also called Translators Without Borders, but it's in Galician, so it's a different. Traductores sin fronteras en gallego, no sé cómo se dice. Sin fronteras. And that's Galician. So yes, there are many associations of this sort. As you heard this morning when Jesús and Carlos were talking, they're also trying to do volunteer translation in the University of Salamanca, and they have something organized there. There are many. Many universities also work with volunteers and have some translators also, although they don't have a specific association with translators. Any other questions, suggestions, comments?
Who is doing the recruitment? Because in my case it was a bit different because I knew some of the coordinators, but normally what are the main criteria to
Well, it depends on the forum, and coordination for each forum can decide how they want to do that. For Istanbul, I know that Ali is going to organize it with Badish, I think his name is. There are a few Turkish interpreters doing that, and I suppose it's up to them to reply to your question. I have been organizing for London and for Malmö, and I know my criteria, but that was when, when you become project coordinator for a project, you have your criteria, and you make them public, of course. At least I have always made them public. And we need so many experienced, so many beginners. We try to put a beginner with a professional. We have our criteria selection, our selection criteria, which are also on the website. But it also depends, and it's up to that coordinator. Sometimes you can't. I mean, sometimes in all good faith, you need one of this and one of this, and there's only those two, and there's only one professional and one inexperienced, so you pick the professional. Or, sometimes you just can't choose. You have to do what you have to do. And others, of course, you can make it more fair, of course.
Well done.
Thank you.